Okay, Siri from the future here, and I have to say, I ramble. Oh my gosh, this Q&A video turned out to be way too long just in its like original form, and I went through and I just had so much fun answering your guys' questions. I don't really want to like cut anybody's questions out, even though I found a couple of them on our Discord that I need to answer later. Maybe we'll do mini Q&A little sessions in the vlogs from now on instead, because I get why my camera battery died now. I talked for 40 freaking minutes. What? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna chop this video in half, and today is going to be part 1 of the Q&A, and tomorrow will be part 2. I will try to jazz it up with some fresh little sneak peeks or clips of some of the stuff that like I'm doing today and tomorrow as well. But I know that's kind of an unusual setup for Vlogmas, but I really had some great questions from you guys, and it was so satisfying to try to provide some really thoughtful answers. And the more I thought about it, the more it gave you guys the kind of insight into Siri and my life and what I do that I wanted to offer to all of you. So yeah, 2-part Q&A special starting now. All right, a lot of you guys must be like baking cookies this weekend, because I had the question, what is your favorite cookie? Multiple times. Which is really amazing. Ironically, Chips is actually baking cookies right now. He's making a bunch of biscotti that we're going to be sending out to friends and family. So I thought that was a little ironic, because all of a sudden everybody has cookies on the mind. Like, I think cookies and like the end of the year and winter celebrations all go together, or maybe just cookies and happy times go together, but cookies! So my favorite cookie used to be peanut butter cookies, and I actually have really fond memories of growing up with my aunt, and she would make us peanut butter reindeer cookies every year, which I thought was just like a special her thing. And then I actually found some stickers, some little winter stickers, let me dig them out, that have the reindeer cookie. There it is. These are the reindeer cookies that my aunt used to make us every year, that I thought was her special secret recipe. And you should have heard me gasp when I saw this sticker sheet, because I was like, oh, you mean other people know how to do the M&M nose like pretzel antler cookies with the 2 chocolate things for eyes? So yeah, that used to be my favorite cookie growing up, because I have so many fond memories of it, because my aunt would visit for Christmas, and she loves Christmas. It's her biggest holiday of the year, and we'd bake big batches of those delicious cookies. But now that I'm a little older, I have started to try other types of cookies like biscotti. Almond biscotti is actually my favorite cookie, and I can highly recommend a delicious almond biscotti recipe in Isa Chandra's Isa Does It cookbook. It's one of her vegan cookbooks that I love the most, and it's an amazing biscotti. We usually make it quite often to be able to send out to friends and family, because it holds up well in the mail if you need it to just like survive for a little while before it can reach people. And then my favorite cookie right now at the top of the list would probably be an amazing chocolate chip almond butter cookie from Plant-Based RD on Instagram. I love her recipes so much. She does a lot of nutritional research and a lot of cooking techniques in her recipes, and they're delicious. So yeah, that's my favorite cookie, and I can't wait to try some more of her desserts when we're ready to like try out a new dessert, because oh my gosh, we were blown away by how delicious it was, and had no idea that sifting, actually physically sifting flour, could make such a big difference in baking cookies. So there's a pro tip if you guys also like to bake cookies, because we were really surprised by that. But yeah, so everybody was thinking about cookies, which I thought was really funny. So I hope you guys are enjoying cookies. Let me know if you are. Hopefully tonight I will get to try at least 1 or 2 of those biscotti before we send them off to our friends and family. Should be good times. And then Raven asked, what's my favorite genre of music? And my favorite genre is actually video game background music, which might sound really weird, but I always have some sort of video game music playlist playing in the background, because I play a ton of video games, I guess, but I also like to have music playing while I'm working. And I find lo-fi and jazz music to be a little too distracting, because there's not often a sense of consistency when you're listening to one of those playlists. And I can't listen to music with lyrics when I'm just trying to like zone into my work or do a bunch of cleaning or while I'm exercising. So my favorite music is just video game background music, and it actually has been a lot of fun to do some deep diving into different types of games and the music and the composers behind them in the last few months. And I've been doing a lot of listening to music from games that I never even have played or would play, just because it's so fun to find good background music for these vlogs. I almost exclusively use music from video games for our vlogs because it's kind of my shout out to the fact that, you know, I'm here as a gaming YouTuber, so it's kind of fun to sort of have that little shout out to games by having their music in the background. And I think it's also because video game music brings me a lot of nostalgia. The #1 song that always hits me in the feels really, really hard every winter would be the winter music for Harvest Moon, Back to Nature, and Harvest Moon 64. The second I hear the refrain start, oh my gosh. Yeah, the second I ever hear just the first few little bits of that song is when I feel like winter has really arrived. So I'm probably going to be using that song a lot once it actually feels a little bit more wintry as the season progresses. But lately it's been really fun because I use video game music in the background of these vlogs, and I want to do more of them and share more of the adventures Chips and I have already been on in life with you guys. So I've been finding different songs that fit different moods or different themes or different seasons, and kind of storing songs that remind me of fall here, storing songs that remind me of quiet reading moments, or watching birds or squirrels play, like into different folders. And it's just been joyful because you can just go on and on and on and on in that genre and find so many different types of mood inside of video game music, because like the same video game can have really intense moments or really like slow and peaceful moments, sad moments, romantic moments. It's fun, and it's fun to feel how those songs also try to create a sense of environment so that you can kind of have a sense of being underwater, which the Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze music does really well, even though I don't play Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. But it's got like a little discovery thing that I really like to do. Like World of Goo has some of my favorite background music, even though I haven't played World of Goo for over 12 years. So that's my favorite genre, probably because it's so linked and synced into, like The Sims music, for instance. Nostalgia, instant nostalgia when I'm listening to Sims 2 music, which, by the way, is the only video game music I've still found that will get you flagged really fast on YouTube for copyright. So don't use anything from Sims 2 if you don't want to get flagged. Unfortunately. But other than that, actually classical music. I'm not very well versed in classical music, but a lot of my family on Chips' side are actually classical musicians. So I hear a lot of it while I'm just kind of in their presence. And because they're all experts in it, I'm still a little too shy to like ask, oh, what's this song that's playing? Because, you know, the experts will be discussing the merits of like, well, they seem to be composing it a little bit more in this key than that key. And like, I really preferred so-and-so's like 1985 rendition versus the like 1997 rendition done in such and such a opera house or whatever. And I'm just sitting there going, what are you listening to? So I really like what I hear. I just don't know what it is very often, and I probably should just like grab my courage and admit I have no idea what this song is or any of the nuances you guys are talking about, but I like it. Can I get its name? So yeah, I really do like classical music quite a bit. I think being around experts in it has rubbed off just how nuanced that field can be, and it's been pretty interesting. But I would like to expand the genres that I actually listen to, you know, as time goes on. So I'm always open to listening to new songs, and I probably should start trying out some more indie artists because I used to love listening to indie alternative music. But anyway, down that rabbit hole for a little too long. Moving on, Backlog asked a really, really interesting question. What is my favorite series Sona that I have created to add a bit of roleplay and excitement to an otherwise pretty straightforward game? I love that question. Because the series Sonas are very rarely intentional. I actually didn't realize I was creating a series Sona to kind of give me a framework for what kind of role play I could bring to a game to make it more interesting for me until a long time after I started doing it. My favorite series Sona for that reason is probably actually the one I created for Zoo Tycoon 2, which was like the second or third series we had ever recorded on the channel. And I created this persona of being the head zookeeper, and then the viewer was my intern. And so instead of referring to you guys as you guys, I would refer to the viewer as, hey intern, your job is here, like go scoop that poop. Anyway, don't worry about that intern, just leave some notes on my desk. And I remember I did that because I wanted to make it kind of more interactive, where you guys felt involved, and it made it more fun for me because it made me feel like you guys were more involved, like we were together, we were buddies working on making the best zoo. And it brought so much more involvement and fun and role play into what was one of my very first series we'd ever done on the channel, that it ended up kind of setting the tone for everything from then on forward. And actually, I remember back when I did the Zoo Tycoon 2 episodes, we actually had a PhD student who reviewed Let's Play content, contact me and interview me for like an hour to gather information for their dissertation. And they showed me the little snippet they wrote up later that really analyzed how I created an interactive audience, or interactive experience for the viewer in an immersive setting, using vocabulary and phrases that made it look so much more intentional than the fact that I just kind of sat there and was like, I bet I could make this more fun. But I was flattered and kind of blown away that one could analyze something that way. But I remember that. So that's probably my favorite series Sona because it set the tone for everything else. But some of the other ones are probably, I'm trying to think. I really loved the series Sona that got created in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee because I ended up being the oblivious caretaker of an entire team of candy thieves. My Pokemon, half of them ended up becoming their own independent gang running a candy thievery business, and I stealing from the rich and giving to the poor and eating candy along the way. And I was oblivious to it for the roleplay of it, and that was really fun too. And I really love having that series Sona roleplay framework because it really does make it so any game that I play, sometimes I will kind of struggle with getting an episode done, or there's some series that I do play because I know they'll be hopefully well received on our main channel, but they're not 100% my cup of tea right away. But the more I get into it and the more I add my own spin and my own roleplay to it, I usually absolutely adore it. Like Wobble Dogs. I was really leery of Wobble Dogs. I had some of the patrons begging me to play Wobble Dogs for a month before I was like, I'll try it. Now I adore it. And so being able to know I could go into the game with my own little twist and just add all of my own little rules and my own little roleplay rules to it made it so much more fun for me to at least try it, and then I fell in love. So it's a great method. I've had people tell me that they just never thought to do roleplay or immersive gameplay in their games. I've never not, so I'm glad to introduce some of you to the concept. And that it's really helped them with Stardew Valley and other games like that too, and that makes me really happy. Also, my other favorite series Sona would probably be the one that loves Cranston so much because he is my son. I adore him. But alright, thank you, Backlog. That was a really insightful question too. I really loved it. Alright, let's see. Alright, don't mind me. I'm just getting some water in between these. But alright, so Ren asked, what animal are you hooked on learning about right now? And I actually just talked about Cranston, so this is a perfect segue into saying cranes! I actually really love studying about cranes at the moment. I study about a ton of different animals and get to hop all over the world with my interest in the natural world for our end slates, actually. I don't write a new end slate for every single video we do because we have over 1,000 100 of them now. So sometimes if I'm really tired, I can make it a little easier on Siri to just like pull up an old one, because a lot of you guys probably forgot the fact or had never seen it before because it wasn't a series you don't watch. So I don't feel too guilty. But when I have extra energy and extra time, because believe it or not, the end slates take the most time out of the videos to do. Like, unless I do a fancy thumbnail, the thing that takes me the longest is to look up information about the end slate, find a picture I can use, and arrange it in a way that people can read and kind of understand, that reaches across a big age range. Because you don't want to make it so expert sounding that somebody who's younger can't understand, but you don't want to make it so like simplistic that somebody who's older isn't going to be interested in the fact. So it actually takes a lot of work to make those end slates. So I try to find I just try to make the end slates on creatures that I'm really passionate about. And because we have Gladys, we have our wonderful Blanche, and we have Cranston on our wonderful Animal Crossing island right now, I'm feeling like researching cranes. And it's really exciting because the more research I do for those end slates, the more that actually sticks and stays with me. So now I know there's 15 species of crane throughout the world. They're not found in South America or Antarctica, but they're found on every other continent in the world. The cranes in Africa don't usually migrate, but the cranes in North America do migrate. The crane that migrates the furthest is the lesser sandhill crane that migrates from as far as northern Siberia down to southern Mexico every year twice. Like, all of those facts are really starting to stick with me. Cranes are different from herons because cranes will fly with their necks stretched out in a straight line, and herons will actually curve their neck into an S shape as they fly. So that's one of the ways you can tell the difference between the two of them, because cranes and herons have a lot of similarities, like their height. The tallest crane in the world is the sandhill crane, but the black-necked crane and a couple of the other cranes in Asia do stand pretty tall as well. They make platform nests. Like, I learned all of these things in the course of trying to find cool new facts to the end slates. And so cranes are my current kick, but I guess that's not surprising because they're a bird. It usually is a bird species I'm really fascinated by, but a little while ago it was pika and lemmings, and a little bit ago it was woolly mammoths. And it's just a lot of fun because when I was younger, I used to read encyclopedias all the time, and that was before Wikipedia and really before the internet was a thing, like a big thing. It was before like we had Google, if some of you could imagine such an era. I don't think Ask Jeeves was even around back then. But back then, when you read an encyclopedia, you kind of had this idea that if you could read that and memorize it, you'd know all the knowledge about that thing, that animal, forever. And I used to think growing up that I'd be really sad when I finally finished memorizing all of the animal fact books and all the encyclopedias I had, because I was really sad I wouldn't have anything new to learn about the animals I loved. And so imagine my delight when the genome research comes out, Wikipedia comes out, the combining of all of the different research articles across countries and across language barriers is broken down thanks to the glory and wonders of the World Wide Web. And now I can name any species and there's new data about it and new things to learn about it like every year. I love that. So it's a never-ending process to be a lifelong learner, and it's just really fun to find that there is no end to the thing that you enjoy to do, which is learn more about the amazing world we all share. So thank you, Ren. The answer is cranes. But it'll change next time somebody asks me favorite animal or what I'm learning about. It'll change because curiosity is never ending.